Representative Santora.
Thank you. Secretary Dallas, thank you for being here. Again, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I feel your cabinet position is actually one of, if not the most important, protecting our children of the Commonwealth, a lot of our seniors, and many other throughout. So I know you don't take that responsibility lightly, and we're all thankful for that. On the background checks, and putting aside, we have a new law in place, there's a ramp-up time, and is there going to be a time of year that you believe, or your deputy secretary believes, that there's going to be a higher, we're going to go through flows, I would think, as school starts, the first several weeks when back-to-school nights and for volunteers and different organizations come back. I'm assuming the volunteer piece is going to be very time-consuming as this new law is taking place. And but are there going to be times of years that it's going to ramp up and then come back down? And are we going to be able to use what I'd call seasonal employees versus having to have full-time employees and other ways to save the Commonwealth money?
I think that I'll let Kathy answer. I mean, there certainly are times where the volume's higher. I'll let Kathy talk about that a little bit. But I think that that has got to be part of the strategy for us. I mean, the trick, of course, is that when you're doing those a seasonal approach, you need to make sure you have enough lag time so that folks are properly trained, that when they are there and that the increase or the surge occurs, that those folks are prepared to deal with it. It's not their first day on the job when those things are happening. But you can talk a little bit about the differences in time of year.
And so I think that you've kind of hit those, and we get a lot right after college graduation. We get a lot prior to the start of the school year. And I think what we're really trying to figure out now is kind of what does that look like? And we've actually had the conversation, and Secretary Dallas talked about it, of do we bring in people at those times and how do we make sure that then they're trained? But I think that there are probably things that we could do. And when we talked about those temporary staff, that we have the ability to use a temporary clerical pool, that we would likely bring them back to do data entry, because we wouldn't necessarily want them to be doing the determination on whether somebody was cleared or not, but we could bring them back. And so we actually have talked about that, and we have the flexibility to do that going forward. So it is something that we're looking at. I think we have to figure out what our new normal is.
Great. And then on the background checks, furthermore, what is the percentage of people that come through the system that end up not qualifying, in a sense, to be a volunteer, to work for agencies? Do we have a number on that?
Yeah, so it's probably 1 to 2% of individuals who are determined to be a hit at that point.
Now, I would assume that some of them come up, they had a past, maybe when they were 18, they did something, it comes back as a background check, we send it through. But is there ever a time that a red flag pops up and says this person really should not be applying for this job or this volunteer position to be around children or be around, it's that you contact the agency that they're putting it through so that, God forbid, they do get past it, that we're protecting the people that could be involved?
Well, if there's a hit, you don't get the background clearance, right?
Right. So what we do not necessarily contact the agency, and we may not know the position that they're applying for. We know that it's employment in a school, a child care service, or they're volunteering, but we don't necessarily know the nature of the position for which they're applying. And so the way that our letters are written, it says that there has been a child abuse case that was indicated, there was a founded report within the past 5 days, or that they're under pending investigation. And so I think that it's information that we give back to the employer for them to really use. And I think that what we've really talked about is that the background check is really one tool in the determination on whether somebody is appropriate for employment or volunteering in that particular situation. So I think it really goes back to that agency, and I think that's why you see more individuals requesting the clearance than maybe they have to. Mm-hmm.